Hey, everybody. World Cup fever. Catch it. I've caught it. And we're going to talk in just a moment here about some teams and players to watch before the tournament kicks off on June 11th. Some prices in here, maybe to look at as well. Should be an interesting few minutes of coverage coming up here. I'm Bruce Marshall. Don't forget, as always, some housekeeping matters here. Go on screen there. Click that subscribe button. Make sure you get all of our Wager Talk TV videos just by clicking that subscribe button on your screen. Also, don't forget, we're coming up, like we said, the World Cup starts on June 11th, and we've got at Wager Talk my World Cup All Access Pack. That's all of my picks through the World Cup, and that's over 5 weeks of soccer picks. 104 matches. I'm not sure if I'll have picks on all of them, but a lot of them I will. $149. That is not a bad price. In fact, that's a bargain price. All of my picks, my World Cup All Access packs, starting on June 11th. So pick that up right now. Okay, let's get into some of these teams and players we want to talk about. Now, not all these are going to be big prices. Some of them will be modestly priced, but they are some teams and some players I think we should watch. And there are some good prices that I'm going to throw at you here in the next few minutes. And like I said before, we'll get into more group previews and then match previews once the tournament starts, and group previews more between now and the kickoff of the tournament. But right now, I think there's some numbers that you maybe want to take advantage of before the tournament kicks off. And let's take a look at it right now. Some teams to watch, as you see scrolling across the bottom of the screen there. The one I'd look at, I am really impressed with Switzerland, and I think they could make a pretty deep run here. Now, they're priced to win Group B. Not that exciting, but they're the favorite. That's one of the lower priced favorites to win a group, -125. I think that's actually pretty decent value. This is a very solid side. They rolled through their qualifying without much trouble, and they impressed at the Euros 2 years ago. I think they were desperately unlucky not to beat England in the quarterfinals. They had a lead late in the match there on a Breel Bologo. We'll talk about him more in a second. But a lot of the same guys are back. A couple guys who we were used to seeing for a long time, Jan Sommer in goal and Xherdan Shaqiri, who scored a lot of goals in big tournaments for Switzerland. Well, they finally retired from the international side, but there's still a lot of experience here. Murat Yakin, the coach, not afraid to experiment, and he's very, very clever, and his tactics are second to none. Now, he's got the midfield pilot to run the show in Granit Xhaka. The job he did with Sunderland this year was exemplary, and he helped the Black Cats get from promotion now to a European spot. They finished in 7th spot in the EPL. That gets them the Europa League next year. What a great story for Regis Labrie. And the guy who was really the driving force was Granit Xhaka, just like he was the past few years for Xabi Alonso at Bayer Leverkusen in the Bundesliga. So you got your midfield pilot there. I mentioned Mbolo had a big year at Rennes this year, scoring goals. He's scored goals in big tournaments before. Scored the goal against England that I thought was going to get Switzerland through to the semifinals 2 years ago in the Euros. Big year at Rennes. And I think to lead Switzerland in scoring in the tournament, Mbolo at +220, not that bad a price. So again, keep an eye on Mbolo to lead Switzerland in scoring, Switzerland to win their group B, and then keep an eye on them moving through the tournament. They are going to be a team to watch. Another team I think we should take a look at. This has a bigger price to win the group because the group is a bit tougher. We're talking about Norway, which finally gets back into the World Cup. But this is the best Norwegian side I think they've ever had, mainly because of some of these high-profile guys who are making their mark in Europe and have for a few years now. How about Erling Haaland, Mr. Goal scorer himself at Manchester City, banging in goals galore for Norway, 16 of them in the qualifiers. Norway had 37 goals in the qualifiers. They were running riot, and they really took care of some sides that were outmatched. But they also took care of Italy twice, 4-0 and 3-1, 7-1 across aggregate across the home and home versus the Azzurri, and that's part of Italy's problem this year. But they can destroy some people with Haaland. Alexander Sorloth too, target man, big striker. Tough in the box. He was very effective for Diego Simeone at Atletico de Madrid this year. So you got two guys, 6'5", 6'6" in the box there. And Haaland, of course, coming in behind the plate can really be a problem. And then on set pieces, these two big guys there. They also have a great midfield pilot, Martin Odegaard from Arsenal. Big-time players. Their price to win the group is +275. That is because France is in the group as the favorite. But I need a little bit more convincing on France because remembering Didier Deschamps will be retiring after the tournament, the coach, He had the handbrake on these guys too much the last tournament, and they just didn't impress me that much. So I think it's a possibility Norway wins this group plus 275. Holland for the Golden Boot plus 1400. We'll see if Norway can get further enough. The Golden Boot also, it helps to keep playing, be on a team that gets deeper in the tournament with more games, chances to score goals. If Norway could get to the quarterfinals, that might be enough games for Holland to bag enough goals to be in the race there. But that's one to consider as well. Anyway, Norway is a very dangerous team to watch. The other one I would watch here is Austria. Austria comes in its group against, in Group J, against Argentina. Is going to be hard to knock off in the group. You get a plus 450 on Austria to win the group. That might be kind of tough, though. It's not beyond these guys. But again, this is another side that impressed greatly at the Euros 2 years ago. Ralph Rangnick, veteran coach, he'd been around Europe. He seemed to finally find the recipe that worked for Austria. Very, very aggressive, fun to watch. Some guys finally getting their chance in the World Cup. They did play in the Euros a couple of years ago, but they haven't been featured in the World Cup for quite a while. Marcel Sabitzer, Borussia Dortmund. He's been a star for Dortmund in the Bundesliga for several years. David Alaba, used to be Bayern Munich, Real Madrid recently. These are top quality players in Europe. And this side plays very aggressively. Now, they did, when they were favored, I almost like these guys more as an underdog than as a favorite, because they did have some struggles in qualifying to finally make it here. But this is the side I would keep an eye on. Maybe, I'm not sure they can knock off Argentina. They do have that match with Algeria in the group, and I would remind people, some bad blood on the Algeria side here. Got to remember back to 1982. This is now part of World Cup lore, and a dark moment when West Germany and Austria conspired for a 1-0 result, just played kickabout the last hour of the match, that got both of them through to the knockout phase at the expense of Algeria. That was way back in 1982 in Spain. Algeria hasn't forgotten about that, so Austria is going to have to deal with that, but I think they should handle it and move on nicely. One other team to watch, that's the Netherlands. And in their case, it is to get to the final, plus 800 to get to the final. I think this is a great spot for the Netherlands, because I like the way, first of all, the squad has got a great blend of experience and youth. That experience in the back line, Virgil van Dijk, Liverpool, he's still got enough gas left in the tank. Denzel Dumfries from Inter Milan, they've been in big tournaments, they've been in big matches. I like the experience there. Memphis Depay up front has scored a lot of goals for them. Cody Gakpo from Liverpool, he could be very, very important for them as well. Ronald Koeman, the coach, he's going to be retiring after the tournament, but I love the blend here that the Netherlands has. They got to the semifinals against England, and almost got to the final of the Euros 2 years ago. What I like too is the way I think the knockout phase will progress for the Dutch. If it goes as I see it, Scotland or Morocco probably in the round of 32. Now I'm assuming the Dutch are going to win their group. Bosnia or Canada probably next, then Germany probably next in the quarterfinals. Those are matches certainly the first 2 rounds they can win, and then Germany, I think they'd have a great shot. Probably Spain after that, but even that wouldn't be out of the reach of the Dutch. They played 2 draws versus Spain in the Nations League and just lost out on advancing to the final on a penalty kick shootout. Netherlands plus 800, that's one of the best prices I see out there to reach the final. 2 more here. The Golden Boot, top scorer in the tournament. Don't sleep on Brazil. Everybody's sort of writing them off. I know it was a tough qualifying campaign, but they had the managerial stuff going on. They're waiting for Carlo Ancelotti to show up. He finally did after most of the qualifiers had been finished. From Real Madrid. What I like here, Vinicius, who did his best work at Real Madrid under Ancelotti, and not coincidentally before Kylian Mbappe showed up. Well, Mbappe's not here taking the steam away from Vinicius for the Brazil side. Ancelotti knows how to use Vinicius. He'll have him out there on the left wing, and he can really wreak some havoc. And I think Brazil is being overlooked here. I could see a deep run for Brazil, and a lot of chances for Vinicius to score. Plus 2,500 there to be the Golden Boot winner. That's not bad. Rafinha, also from Barcelona, he's healthy now. He's pretty decent value there too at plus 2,800, as you can see on the screen there. So those 2 guys, long shots for the Golden Boot, I think are both worth a look. Okay, as always, I like to hear from you. So if you go on the comments there on the screen, let me know what you're thinking. Love to hear from you. And also, don't forget, like we mentioned before, my special World Cup All Access Pack. That's for 149, all of my picks throughout the World Cup. So until next time, that's a goodbye from me.